Welcome in, everybody, to a breaking news football 24/7 edition here across the JAKIB Sports Network. I'm your host, Xander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mack, John McMullen, joining me by phone right now on a breaking news edition. Evidently, Zadarius Smith, the Eagles' newest acquisition acquired after the Week 1 game, has retired from the NFL. Johnny Mack, coming right to you. Your first reaction to that, not something I thought we'd be talking about today.
No, this one's a shocker to me. I mean, Zadarius, since he's got here, has been very upbeat. Seemed very happy to be here, and yeah, this is a curveball. Still no confirmation. Obviously, posted it on Instagram. No confirmation from the Eagles that they've been informed of this yet, but I imagine they have. And this is, anytime something like this happens where it comes out of left field, I always think about Bill Parcells, because he used to sort of give the advice to all of his assistants who became head coaches, and he gave them sort of like a list of advice and things, and he said 4 or 5 things happen every day in the NFL that you don't want to happen. If you can't handle it, don't become a head coach. And this is when this kind of stuff happens, that's what I think about. When you get the curveball out of left field, and it's just like you never expected it, and that you just have to adjust and move on. But yeah, he was playing at a pretty high level. You never know what guys like that who've been around. It's 11th season, 33 years old. You never know what they're dealing with physically. So maybe he came back and is, it was just a little bit too difficult until we get more clarification from Za'Darius. Don't know what's really behind it. I don't think he got to Philadelphia and it was the locker room stuff, and that I don't think that had anything to do with it. But,
You understand why people will speculate that, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. But, I think, NFL buildings are very sort of structured in the fact that you don't even, as a defensive player, you don't even spend much time with the offense. So it's not like he's dealing with any kind of gossip or backbiting. It's sort of very, very structured, as I said, stay in your own lane, so to speak. So I doubt that had anything to do with it. You can't say completely it didn't, but I'm assuming it's more had to do with him and personal things and aspects, whether it's injury related, family related, something. He's got young kids, so it might be something as simple as that, more than angst on the offensive side of the football, which is really not even his purview.
Yeah, we'll see, John. I joked, though, on Twitter. I don't know if it was a joke or not, honestly, because when you're at that age and you wait until after camp to sign, there's a very specific reason for doing it. Most of those guys are, ring chasing. I don't like to call it that, but that's kind of what it is. I joked, Zadarius Smith retired because he doesn't think the Eagles are winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, we talked on the show this morning. I don't think there's any dominant team to say where you couldn't overcome them. So I don't think that's it either. No doubt he wanted to play for a contender. And yeah, I don't think he made the assessment that, all right, we can't win, I'm going to walk away.
It was more probably, honestly, we're speculating, but it was more probably played 4 games and was like, shit, my body's beat up. I don't know, though. I don't like to speculate on the physical nature of them.
Well, exactly. I think that's often I always Occam's razor. It's probably got something to do with his young kids or something to do with his body breaking down more than anything else. But I know people are going to jump to conclusions, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. So he I talked to him a lot. I joked he's already my favorite Eagle. He's very engaging, very happy, very seemed extremely happy to be here. So yeah, this one's a surprise to me, complete surprise.
John, what's the move now for the Eagles? I mean, like we were thin at edge with Zadarius Smith on the roster. and he was the best edge rusher on the football field. Well, your best edge rusher on the football field in one of the worst areas of the team right now has just walked away, and you are now left with Jalix Hunt, Joshua Uche, Azeez Ojulari, Patrick Johnson, and Nolan Smith when he returns from the IR, which won't be for at least another 2 or 3 games, I think, minimum. What is the move for the Philadelphia Eagles right now post Zadarius Smith?
Well, there's no move right now other than to get through Sunday in Minnesota. It's you'll certainly look at the trade market. Unfortunately, there's some other things that you have to deal with now that San Francisco, for instance, seems to be very interested in adding an edge rusher after losing Nick Bosa for the year. So now you have more competition. They've already talked about potentially making the call on Trey Hendrickson. And the only thing I could say, Diana Rossini just tweeted out, I'm told Zadarius Smith's decision to retire is a personal one. It has nothing to do with the Eagles. So I didn't think it had anything to do with the Eagles. That was my speculation, either from just his body breaking down, or as I said, he's got very young kids, and maybe he was with his family, and maybe he said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home. So I think that's more of the likely scenario. But yeah, from the Eagles and a football standpoint, it's not like you can bring somebody in and go pick up the phone and bring in a meaningful edge rusher. They tried to do that with Zadarius Smith, and they did for a few weeks, but it's not like you can go out to the tree in the backyard and pick it off the tree. I mean, you have to hope, and there's a silver lining of some of the injuries as Azeez Ojulari's gotten on the field and been okay for a couple games. So that's what you have, and that's where you are, and you'll try to add something before November 4th, I'm sure, even if that's just a practice squad guy on a different practice squad, bring some bodies in and things of that. So, and real quick, I'm just getting this in. The Eagles have been informed of the retirement, so it is official. As far as reasoning, they're going to leave it up to Za'Darius for if he wants to address it. But all indications are it's personal, nothing to do with the Eagles.
John, I know you're not a big sack guy, but Nolan Smith has 0 sacks. Azeez Ojulari has 0 sacks. Josh Uche has 0 sacks. Jalix Hunt has 0 sacks. Patrick Johnson has 1 sack. Your edge rush sack leader with 1.5 has just walked away. John, I didn't think this room could be any uglier, and I think it just got a whole lot uglier.
Well, it did. I mean, and that's just this season. I mean, if you talk about career, I mean, the one guy who's got a lot of them in his career just walked out the door.
Yeah, right.
So that to me is bigger than what's going on in the moment. Josh Uche's played well. I imagine all of a sudden he's a starting edge rusher. Jalix Hunt and Azeez Ojulari, that's going to be your 3 main guys. You got to get Nolan Smith back as quickly as possible. That's probably a post-bye type situation. So we talked about perseverance as well this morning. You got to persevere. But this is, for all those who weren't worried about losing Josh Sweat, it's nice to have a guy who's sort of a cornerstone that's been doing it for a long time. And this is just some bad luck. And as I bring up that Bill Parcells advice, that's what it reminds me of. There's always things that are going to happen in an NFL season, and you got to be prepared to roll with the punches. And this is not a positive development for the Philadelphia Eagles, to say the least. That is their best edge rusher. They weren't great on the edge with Zadarius, without him, and without Nolan Smith for a few more games. It looks pretty daunting. to the point you might even have to think about giving Jalen Carter or somebody like that more snaps outside.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That might be a necessary thing that they're going to have to do. Because remember, John, Obo's out. I think he's going to be out for the year, right?
He's out for the season. So
yeah. So Nolan, you get back, hoping we get Nolan back in November, I think is optimistic. But now it's almost necessary.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Nolan Smith is always was going to be important to this, and the fact that you lost him for 4 games minimum, but probably a little bit more than that, was always going to be a concern, and wasn't already a concern. And the only reason Aziz got his opportunity was because of that oboe injury, torn triceps for him. So, but you have bodies at least, and Josh has played well pretty much the entire season. Aziz has done okay when thrown into the deep end of the pool. You also need, it's really, really key. And you hate to put this much pressure on the kid, but you really need more out of Jalen Hunt. And I mean, really need more.
I mean, I know you don't want to put the pressure on the kid, but the Eagles did, John. It's not you that's doing it. It's the Eagles.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it.
I mean, John, Howie Roseman spent all offseason. He jumped over every single dime that was available to him, and he picked up a nickel at every single avenue. And that's coming back to bite him in the ass right now. I know Howie's great, and he's been a great general manager, and he is one of the best GMs in football. He severely overplayed his hand this offseason, and you're seeing it come to fruition right now. Jumped over a dime to pick up a nickel, John.
Well, and there's so many moving parts to an NFL team and an NFL roster. We now know that he tried to acquire. I don't know how serious. I never take it too seriously when something is one-sided. So, in other words, you can say, well, I tried to get Micah Parsons, but it's not real. But I mean, he was certainly willing to entertain that situation from the standpoint of making it just about money. They were certainly trying to, reboot the whole situation pending for next year and what's coming down the pike. No doubt about that. But he was willing to shift gears if that type of player could be on the table. But again, it was one-sided. So, but I do think it highlights just how it's not as simple as you kind of laid it out. Like there are different things that never come to fruition that you're willing to do, that you consider to do. Right. Eagles example is this is Minnesota week. Eagles wanted Isaiah Rodgers back. They wanted him back. They tried to bring him back. It didn't work out for different circumstances. So there's a bunch of things that do work out, bunch of things that don't work out, and most of the things that don't work out, you never even hear about.
That's the truth. Johnny Mac, good stuff, brother. We will talk to you tomorrow morning on Birds 365. Bryce Huff, John, has 3 sacks on the year. That's triple what the Eagles' edge rushing group right now has produced through 6 games.
Well, perfect example of that. Wasn't going to work here.
Different I know. I just saying it because it's funny. I wasn't saying it because we would have fit. I'm just saying it because it's out there, and that's what we're looking at now, J-Mac.
Yeah, I mean, and you saw, and that's part. Hey, I blame the Eagles for that because I think if you sign a player like Bryce Huff, you should adapt to what the player does well, and they didn't. Robert Saleh did and does, and that's why he plays better under Robert Saleh than he did under the Eagles and Vic Fangio, because he's a good fit for that scheme. He's not a good fit for this scheme.
Well, I don't know who is a good fit for this scheme, but we need somebody quick or this thing could get ugly. We'll see what happens. John, I'll talk to you in the morning, brother.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, J-Mac. There's Johnny Mac joining me right here. All right, on a special football 24/7 edition. Howie Roseman jumped over a dime to pick up a nickel. I don't give a rat's ass what anybody, oh, they were too expensive to pay. Yeah, everybody was too expensive to pay. You depleted the Super Bowl defense that dominated Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. And we all, me included, came back thinking everything was going to be all right. Zadarius Smith has just hung up the cleats. We are effed at edge rusher. We are screwed at edge rusher. We have Jalix Hunt, Azeez Ojulari, Joshua Uche, Nolan Smith, who we hope is going to be healthy in November. And then, by the way, we hope he's good. We hope he stays healthy when he gets back. Guy can't stay on the field. This is catastrophic. And by the way, let's talk about something. I'm not going to ask John to do it because John has a press pass, and I get it. But anybody who's around this Eagles team, anybody who watches Eagles content day in and day out, anybody who stays up to date with Eagles reporting, that tweet from Diana Rossini today, it has nothing to do with the Eagles, is directly from the Eagles organization. Directly from the Eagles organization. It has nothing to do with the Eagles. What are you talking about? It has nothing to do with the Eagles. He signed here 4 weeks ago. He signed here 4 weeks ago. The guy made a decision to retire in 4 weeks? Maybe. That was right from the Eagles. This has nothing to do with the Eagles. It's all personal. I promise. It has nothing to do with the Eagles. It's all personal. Okay. Thanks, Bob Lang. Thanks, Bob Lang. Za'Darius doesn't think we're winning the Super Bowl this year. That's for sure. Zadarius doesn't think we're winning a Super Bowl this year. We got major problems on the edge rushing group, major problems on the defensive side of the football right now, offensive side of the football too. But I don't know. We all love Vic Fangio, and we should. And he's done a tremendous job. Vic Fangio is not a magician. I don't understand how he's going to get a good defense out of what he has. Think about it. Our starters versus the Vikings this week is going to be Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson, Josh Uche, Jalix Hunt. Who else we got out there? And 2 rookies.